Razimus here. Those Comedy Store videos, I'll probably consolidate them, or I don't know, you know. They were going to be a great, big, awesome promotion of the Comedy Store. It's going to be a big old promotion. You think I'm going to buy a t-shirt when I'm not a fan? This is the new t-shirt, the Hollywood t-shirt you can get at the Comedy Store gift shop. $20. No tax. It's pretty cool. Except for the fact how they treated me. They treated me pretty badly, but it's pretty uncool. Now, most definitely, some of the comedians were hilarious to me, nice to me. They even handed the mic to me 3 nights in a row. And I was not expecting that. I was just an audience member watching, spectating. I guess on Mondays, you can put your name in a hat for potluck, and you can get the worst time slot if you win that lottery. I didn't know the process, so I didn't even enter. I didn't know where the hat was. No one cared. It seemed to me if you showed up and you stayed long enough, the mic will end up in your hand at one point, as long as you talk or somewhat interesting to riff off of, I guess. So they riffed off of me for 3 nights in a row. I was able to tell ghost stories, but their atheist perspective, let's full-blown say it, 99% of the comedians at the Comedy Store are atheists. We're talking spiritually dead, all right? Now, if you're an atheist that believes in ghosts, you're not spiritually dead. If you're an atheist that believes in spirits, or the potential that there might be some type of energy, intelligence, like a spirit type of thing out there in the universe floating around, then you're not spiritually dead. So I've heard many commenters say, you know what, I'm an atheist, but I believe in ghosts. I believe in ghost stories. But that's not mainstream. Mainstream atheism, we're talking Houdini's time. Houdini didn't believe in ghosts. Houdini was a mainstream atheist. Houdini said, I'll send a message after I'm dead if it's possible. I'm sure some false messages have popped up here and there, but let's face it, Houdini was never able to send a message that anyone can accept as being from him. Undeniably. I'm making this video just as an update. I'm splicing today if it's windy, let's try to get out of the wind. I'm splicing the promo for the 1830s house. I'm going to have probably 2 promos and then drop the thing. It's a monumental amount of editing. I investigated the place on 4 separate occasions, 4 separate days. We're talking February 18th, past 3 a.m., closer to 4 a.m. I investigated when the poltergeist footsteps of the spirit living there in the grass manifested. I recorded it with this very camera. In July, I came back and I got a motel room, Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you. And man, I should have stayed at Pea Soup Anderson's. I think there's similar rates. Anyway, I stayed there for like 1 night just so I could investigate the 1830s house for that exclusive purpose in July. And I went there at about 1 a.m. Of course, the air conditioner has to come on, just to make it impossible for you to hear me. But 1 a.m. approximately, I went there. So that was the second night, 1 a.m. in July. Can't remember what day. I have it all written down. So I waited till 1 a.m. because I saw a cop car parked. I had to kill some time, come back when that cop was gone. It's not illegal, but it's probably the equivalent of going to a public park at 1 a.m. You're going to get kicked out. So technically speaking, it's not encouraged. But if it's one person with dedication in investigating spirits, let's face it, as an amateur ghost investigator, amateur from the perspective of not having my own TV show, TV crew, you know, I mean, What do you need? A press pass these days? You're gonna get out of here, which is why I have a lot of sidewalk investigations. I sidewalk investigated the Comedy Store. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you, not much. Maybe a 0.7 spike at best. Not much. But the Comedy Store manifested, the spirit manifested in different ways. I'll tell you one thing about the Comedy Store. Every single employee of the Comedy Store is insecure. Every single employee. Probably because every single employee is a aspiring comedian. Aspiring professional comedian. Now, I heard one comedian say he makes $17 for this set. He wasn't joking. It was not an exaggeration. The original room is like where people try out the new material. I think they split the money amongst the comedians, non-headliners, probably get a percentage of whatever. $17 is more than they even would have made back in the day, because they used to make $0. But beside that, when someone's insecure, all right, like desperate for laughs, and that's most of the employees of the Comedy Store, because the employees are the comedians. The place is self-sustained by comedians. Every doorman, every t-shirt salesperson, every desk person, excepting a few. I'm sure there's definitely a few receptionist type positions and managerial locking up the door type positions where they are not aspiring comedians, but that's pretty rare. Most of them are. The Ghost, Gus the Ghost. I have a theory, you know. Gus the Ghost. I'll put this in the video about the Comedy Store. Gus the Ghost. He clearly, easily, like a maestro, like a puppeteer, pulls the strings of these emotionally fragile people. And I'm obviously a little bit that as well. I mean, let's face it, the bullying took place. My first time going in, no problems. I stayed until 2 a.m. They gave me the mic, told a couple ghost stories, a couple laughs. I told them I was a ghost investigator. So I go to my car, 2:45 a.m., and I whip out my Mel meter and my camera, and I start just sidewalk investigating, just the sidewalk, literally the public sidewalk. And the manager that closes up was like, "Hey, you can't do that. No, you can't. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that." When I'm like, this is public property, I'm just doing a sidewalk video. I'm sure a million tourists filmed the place on the sidewalk. Just because I'm holding a Mel meter, a device you're unfamiliar with. It's just an electromagnetic device, not a big deal. So after I'm trying to explain, she's like, "We're going now." So it went from, "You can't investigate," to "We're going," because they didn't want to hear the spiel. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to give them a spiel of, I wasn't pretending to be a ghost investigator when I had the microphone talking about it. I actually am it, and here's the process. That's why I stayed until 3 a.m. But I took off. I didn't even stay until 3 a.m. I probably took off at 2:50 a.m., 5 minutes after talking to them. They left. And I walked around the sidewalk, maybe 0.7 from my recollections, the highest. And to be honest, that could have been electronics. It could have been the power grid circuits. Could have been the ghost lingering. I can tell you the ghost was afraid of me, / intrigued by me. The ghost wouldn't have allowed me to have the mic in my hand telling ghost stories if it didn't like me to an extent. So I got to give a shout out to the Comedy Store ghost and a hello from the 1830s ghost, because I promised the 1830s ghost I would tell the Comedy Store ghost, "How's it going?" And I did, with a microphone on the original stage, in front of the original stage. It was a casual atmosphere, only 6 people in the audience type situation, and half of them being employees type deal. But it was strange. 3 nights in a row, I had the mic three nights in a row, just telling ghost stories. I wasn't like I said, I wasn't particularly good on night 3. I didn't want to tell ghost stories. I was burnt out, and the hecklers. Let's face it, if I was a comedian, every employee there was interjecting and heckling. But that's, you know, they knew I was just a customer, so they had the right to, I guess, you know. But when I'm on the sidewalk, that's when it turns into bullying. But yeah, I got heckled, but I didn't have any jokes written. I did write a good 10 ghost jokes, and I didn't use a single one of them because the mic was in my hand for 30 seconds at a time, and the guy would pull it out of my hand. Understandably, I'm just an audience member. I was lucky to have the mic 30 seconds at a time while I'm trying to tell these ghost stories. But Gus the Ghost heard the ghost stories and was intrigued by them. By night 3, I was tired. I was like, I don't even care anymore. This place is kind of draining me out. I saw a ghost. Here's the ghost story. I'll tell it again. It looked like a human being standing 2 to 3 feet away from me in my peripheral. That's it. The hand was Caucasian. It was a Caucasian hand protruding out of a black sleeve, which appeared to be a black suit coat. And I didn't even see the full suit coat. You see what I'm saying? The peripheral, very blurry. So all I saw was a dark figure in a dark area, which happened to be the corner of the room, believe it or not. All the walls are painted black. This person standing beside me looked like the waitress or the waiter or a comedian looking at the stage. And I kept taking a double take easily 5 to 10 times. I was like, whoa. It disappeared every time I turned. Now, it didn't immediately reappear after I turned back. It kind of took a little bit of time to reappear. I did employ some techniques that the Historic Hollywood Hotel receptionist told me. He said, I see ghosts. I can show you. I can teach you how to see them. I'm going to share that in the future. It deserves its own video. Promo dropping pretty soon. Check out this channel. Click like and subscribe. Leave a comment. This channel is alive and well. New episodes coming soon. I thank you for watching. I was going to say something. You know, the 1830s promo. I was just going to throw like a 30-second video or a 1-minute video, but I'm going to show 6 minutes of footage from September 30th. I was there in February, January. No. I was there in February, July, and September 30th. September 30th, 10 p.m.-ish. I'm going to show 6 minutes. I cut out a couple seconds out of the 6-minute clip of where I reveal the location. I still want to keep the location a secret to an extent. It'll probably be full-blown out there when the documentary hits. You can Google it, I'm sure. But those people that are not inclined to Google it will not Google it. And I don't want them to Google it. I don't want there to be security watching the place. I'll tell you this. An owl screeched a screech only seconds after the ghost used the device. The ghost used my devices, all 3 of them, and then I hear it was like, what the freak? For a second I thought it was the ghost trying to manifest a voice, and it was an owl screeching. It was freaky. An owl screeched 3 times. I wonder if the owl saw the ghost, or saw me, saw the ghost hunting equipment, or saw what I didn't know was in the distance. Because not too many minutes later, I started to see lights through the trees, projected onto the 1830s house. And I had investigated this place 3 times at night. I'd never seen lights like that. They're clearly artificial. So I look. I see this subtle light coming through the trees. I immediately try to find the source, and I see a truck, headlights, maybe a farmer's tractor headlights, some type of headlights coming towards my direction. Luckily, I had already gotten all the ghost evidence, more so than I was hoping for. Although I think the footsteps might have manifested without me noticing. Watching the footage over and over, I can hear what sounds like the footsteps again. Far enough away you can tell it's not coming from me. I think it's coming from the same area where it came from on the first night, February 18th, around 4 a.m. So I wonder if I go back there, you know. The spirit was very willing to manipulate the devices the third time. It got used to me. It's like I built trust with the spirit to the point where I was like, hey, spirit, I'm going to Los Angeles. I'm going to take off pretty soon. Could you please just set off these devices? I'm going to take off to Los Angeles. And it immediately set them all off. Very nicely now. The way in which the devices are set off, these are LED lights connected to a static electricity detector. When I have a staticky clothing and I come close to it, or static on my hands, you can see it flicker here and there. You can see it flicker here and there. And even in the video I say, this is me, this is my static electricity flickering, you know, setting off the device. When the spirit sets it off, it's very solid, very pronounced. I think spirits, being electrical energy type beings, they have the ability to see the circuitry, the circuit board, and how this electrostatic meter, this device works. And they're able to literally set off internally from a circuit board perspective each little light. And they hold it as long as they want. As a human being with some static electricity on my hand or my clothing, I cannot reproduce this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sure there are some devices that could also sporadically make it look crazy, but I don't think there's a single device that can hold it like a spirit holds it. Pay attention to tiny stuff like that. This is authentic footage. I've seen the devices on YouTube and similar holding patterns. That's when you know it's a legitimate spirit. When subtle things. I'm not selling the product. I bought the product on the website. You'll see what it is in the video. I ordered it. The guy 3D printed it. He sent it to me in like 2 to 3 months. It took a while. And the thing is a digital or electronic Ouija board, if you will. I only used it at the 1830s house, and I've never used it any time ever since or before, because I don't investigate in my house anymore. Too freaky. But the spirit, the first time I used these devices would have been the second time in July. And it fleetingly did a... Now I did a hold pattern, but I only filmed half of it. So I'm really glad that I was able to get it to do it again. I can compare side by side the July footage with the September footage. It's clearly the same entity. Stay tuned, more episodes coming soon. I know you haven't seen the footage, but I'm going to drop it soon. I'm going to go to lunch right now. I'm going to try to upload this video right now. I'm going to edit this video all night. It's motivating me to finish the documentary. It's authentic spirit evidence. Spirits exist. Scarily enough, demons exist as well. I'm sure angels exist as well. I said Los Angeles, and the spirit set off the device. So I can only think, I can only rationalize, you know. Right before I said that, I'm going to take off, going to Los Angeles, and it sets off the device. Did it set it off because I said I'm going to take off if it sets him off? Was it motivated by me taking off? Did the spirit alert, like the farmer, to drive his truck? I grabbed all the equipment, shoved it in my bag, grabbed my 2 tripods. I ran. In 30 seconds, I was out of there. I think even the spirit would have been surprised at my haste. Because the second the farmer knows there's someone ghost investigating this place is the same second they set up some type of security camera. They set up some type of surveillance. They set up, you know, they keep an eye, watchful eye. It's also another reason I don't want to share the location. It'll ruin the entire experience of a secluded, isolated place. I've had conversations, one-sided, I will admit, one-sided conversations with the spirit saying, hey, you probably like seclusion. This is a very isolated place. I'll do my best to not bring a bunch of tourists here, to keep this as secluded as possible for you. Anyway, spirits are real. I said Los Angeles, which means the angels. Did it respawn because I said the angels? Or did it respond because it responds to Spanish a little bit more? Maybe next time I'll bring a Spanish dictionary and try to say some Spanish words. I could have used Google Translate, but I turned off my phone to not affect any of the devices. So I have theories, and I have even theories that go beyond into the realm of scary. I just want to focus on what happened. You will see. Stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. Ghosts exist. Ghosts are real. I saw one at the Comedy Store out of the corner of my eye. It's not the same as seeing it in front of your face. But I saw movement. Then I saw something standing there. A very normal thing when you're in a comedy club. I had seen 3 days in a row the waitress occasionally watch the stage and laugh. The next comedian stand to go on, watch and laugh. And that's the feeling it had. Someone just standing there watching the stage. Can't say as to who or what it was. Could have been Gus the Ghost. Bobby Lee saw Gus the Ghost in almost the exact location I saw it out of the corner of my eye. There's a corner with a door, and then there's an exit to the hallway. This ghost would have been standing close to the exit to the hallway. Bobby Lee said he was playing piano in the corner at 3 a.m. and he turned and saw Gus the Ghost in the hallway. Now, not knowing the layout of the Comedy Store, I didn't know anything about the perspective of what he's talking about. But the only hallway visible from that piano corner is the hallway right to the right behind me. The ghost, he said, was wearing a gold suit. So I saw specifically a black suit coat arm with a Caucasian hand. Had a male sense to it. It's definitely a male. Bobby saw a gold suit, so very interesting. I think Joey Diaz saw a black suit, Phantom of the Opera type getup. See, I didn't see any detail like that. But it's cool to have seen anything. Now, of course, people are going to say you didn't see anything. But I saw it at the corner of my eye. There's a 2-drink minimum. I didn't have squat, dude. I had apple juice. I had 2 apple juices like 4 hours prior to this. So, this is the end of the day. And I saw a figure. Enough times to do a double take 5 times. 10 times. I mean, in the space of 10 minutes, I looked over at least 5 times. I've never done that before. Was I looking for ghosts? Well, I was definitely doing the technique. It's a breathing technique. I'll share that technique in the future. I don't encourage that technique on any regular basis, but if you're at a haunted location and you're a tourist and you know you're not going to see squat, you want a little bit of edge, I would test this technique out. Give it a shot. Perhaps it's what worked for me. I did try it throughout the day. And it's a breathing technique. You can say it's meditative related. And I'm not a big fan of meditation in regards to seeing spirits. This is what the hotel lobby receptionist said. He said, be cautioned, be warned. If you do this too many times, you can open up doors you can't close. And I was like, okay, man, yeah, that's... I've already had so many doors open that I'd be willing to try it out, but not on a regular basis. But I'll share it in the future. Stay tuned. John Razimus, Ghost Investigator. Be seeing you.